why is it that some days you play amazing tennis, you can just hit any shot, and then other days, and it might even be the very next day, you step on court and you absolutely suck? That's the question that I'm going to be answering in this video. And what I'm also going to do is talk about what you should do and how you should think about things on the days where you're not playing quite as well. I hope you find the video useful. If you do, it'd be great if you give me that thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. So some days you step on court and you're like the reincarnation of Federer, Djokovic and Nadal all rolled into one. You can do no wrong. And then the very next day you can step out there and things can be going horribly wrong. It happens to everyone. So I want to explain why that is and what you can do in those situations. Now, the way that you want to think about this is perfectly normal. It literally does happen to everyone, even the best players on the planet. You see, sometimes they're unbelievable and other days they are slightly less unbelievable, still amazing, but slightly less unbelievable than they were the day before. Our bodies always operate in a state of constant fluctuation. They're never at the same. There's this thing that goes on continually, and that just manifests in a really bad way in tennis because tennis is a hard sport to play. Now, you've probably experienced some days you wake up and you feel great, other days you wake up and your back is a little bit stiff or your legs are a little bit stiff. Well, we're thinking about the same thing, but instead of thinking about muscle stiffness and restrictions in those senses, we're thinking about fluctuations in how our visual processing is functioning and how our hand-to-eye coordination and our foot-to-eye coordination is functioning, because those things change on a day-to-day basis as well. You might not have noticed it, but there's a lot of fluctuation. For me, I've had a lot of concussions in the past, so my fluctuations are a little bit higher. So some days I'll wake up and I've got amazing visual clarity, like 13/20 vision, see like a hawk, track the ball like a hawk. I can slap balls and really crush winners off any shot that I want. And then other days I'll wake up and I can feel that my eyes are blurry, and then I'll go to make my coffee in the morning, I'll be spilling stuff and dropping stuff because my vision and my coordination is both affected by this fluctuation. So mine's more extreme because of the concussions and things that I've had in the past. Yours is probably going to be way less extreme than mine, but this is what's going on. Our body changes from day to day. Our brain controls vision, hand-to-eye coordination, movement, all that stuff. And everything we do in tennis is kind of based around that. So small fluctuations within that can be huge. And in terms of why things fluctuate, well, a lot of it can come down to inflammation. If your body is inflamed, that can create problems. And if your body is a little bit stressed out, that can create problems. So sometimes it can be down to foods you eat. Obviously, if you went out drinking the night before, that can be a big part of the reason. Sometimes you played a hard match the day before. There's a bit of inflammation or there's just a bit of stress within the body. All these things affect how our brains function, and just these small changes in the visual system and small changes in the control of coordination, that's the reason why you can't perform at such a high level from a day-to-day basis. Now, obviously, one of the things that you want to be doing with this is you want to be working to improve your vision, working to improve your coordination, obviously eating cleanly, doing all the things that you can do to recover so that your fluctuations are smaller and your fluctuations happen at a higher level. So if you've got amazing hand-to-eye coordination as opposed to terrible hand-to-eye coordination, you want to fluctuate up there rather than down there. And if you're doing everything you can to recover nutritionally and kind of with that side of things, then again, your fluctuations are going to be smaller rather than big fluctuations. So we've got that side to it, but there's also the way that you want to approach this stuff when you're actually on court, because you probably know about it straight away. Like I said, for me, it wasn't always this way. In the olden days, I wasn't any good at tennis. I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't any good. I certainly couldn't play like I can now. Nowadays, I've got a fairly aggressive game. I like to be close to the baseline. I like to step in. I like to rip the ball. And when I'm feeling good, I can do that well. But when my system is off, and I know it because I literally wake up and I'm blurry and I can tell straight away, if I step out in court and I start trying to hit those ripping, I'm just trying to rip winners, and it doesn't work. I just spray the ball and I make huge errors. And if I try and push through that and go, this is going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work, I'm going to be fine, 99% of the time it doesn't work, and I will just be dumping and donating away points. So what I have to do and what you'll need to do is recognize what's going on and dial things back. Just be a little bit more sensible with your play. So for me, I can't stand as close to the baseline because I can't read the ball as quickly. So it's a very noticeable deficit. It just takes a period of time for me to recognize the ball. So if I stand here, I just don't react to the set up position. So I just have to drop back behind the baseline and kind of grind it out a little bit more like I used to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a case of doing what needs to be done. If you aren't able to play at your best on a certain day, you've just got to implement tactics that are going to be right for you. You also want to dial things back and focus on the basics. So just focusing on footwork, being nice and light on your toes, trying to make sure that you're in the right position, focusing on your spacing, and really focusing on watching the ball onto your strings. Because one of the big things that gets affected when your body's stressed out is peripheral vision. So if I look directly at the camera lens, this is my focused or foveal vision. All this stuff around the outside is peripheral vision. And peripheral vision is one of the big things that allows you to watch the ball on and off the strings. And if you lift your head slightly on contact, peripheral vision is one of the things that allows you to kind of still watch the ball on and off the strings and still make good contact. Well, if you think about when you're stressed out, you get tunnel vision, this wider vision gets narrowed and you just focus on one thing. That happens on a smaller level when you play. So the visual system really is a big part of it. So if you've got more tunnel vision rather than having great quality peripheral vision, it is even more important for you to try and line your eyes up with the contact point. So that's what you need to do on the days that you're just not feeling yourself. Don't go out there and try and be a hero and go, yes, I'm just going to keep on hitting winners. You know, if you do it for the first few games and you realize it's not happening, stop it. Stop it. Dial yourself in. Focus on the basics. Nice and light on your toes. Moving on your feet. Moving on your toes. Thinking about the spacing. Really watching the ball onto the strings. Aiming for bigger targets and being less aggressive. And like I said, there is nothing wrong with that. That is what you need to do. That is how you have to approach things. That's what the best players in the world do. Not with the same level of fluctuations of mine and not playing at the level that you do or I do, because they're, you know, orders of magnitude above us. But they know when they're not playing as well, and they just do what they need to do, or the best players do, to dig themselves out of it and play the best they can at their current or in the current situation. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Before I close the video out, I want to let you know about a resource that's available to you. It's a masterclass that I've created that talks about how to train your vision, your coordination, your hand-to-eye coordination, basically your skill level, because like I said partway through the video, if you can raise that stuff, when you do have these fluctuations, you'll still be performing at a higher level. So I'll place a link down below and I'll place a link up there so you can check that out if you want. Okay, any questions or comments about what I've said, ask them down below and I'll get back to you as quick as I can.